Hi everyone, welcome back to the session on National Board of Accreditation for new SAR 2024. So in this presentation, I'll be talking about criteria 1, how to go about it, what the process have to be followed and how the documentation has to be maintained. So criteria 1 basically focuses on outcome-based curriculum, which is of 120 marks. The first aspect of this curriculum is vision, mission and program education objectives of the program that is being applied for NBA accreditation. So PEOs, that is program education objectives, are basically the statements where we are going to measure the effectiveness of these statements after 4 to 5 years of the graduation of the student. So basically it is when a student is working in any organization or is a part of any larger structure of working or a research that will be evaluated after 4 to 5 years of graduation. So they are known as program education objectives. So vision, mission of the institute carries 5 marks. We have to define the vision, mission of the department with respect to the vision, mission of the institute. So vision are basically the aspirational goals which are long term in nature. And how do we achieve this long term goal? It is through the smaller steps, which we call it as mission statements. So vision and mission of the department has to be in alignment with respect to the vision and mission of the institute. So vision is basically 1 to 2 sentences, either of the institute or of the program. And mission statement usually it is 3 to 5, concise, and then they are represented in the form of bullet points. State PEOs of the program carries 5 marks. So it is best to define 3 to 5 broad goals that graduate should achieve within 3 to 5 years after graduation. So PO should be in alignment with the institute's vision and mission, and also it should have a connection with industry, society, and academic needs. So vision, mission, and PEOs. How do we define it? What is the process do we follow for it? And how often do we review it? Who are all involved? So all these process, flowchart, and documents have to be maintained appropriately. So process of defining vision and mission, that is what I was talking about. It carries 10 marks. So flowchart or diagrams showing how stakeholders input. So there may be internal and external stakeholders that you define for the program. So how do you take the inputs from them? For example, the stakeholders may be faculty, students, alumni, industry, regulatory bodies, parents, management. So any number of stakeholders you can include into your department or a program, and then form a department advisory committee or department academic committee, where all these are collected together, reviewed, processed, come to a final conclusion with respect to the flow chart, and make concluding statements of how all these inputs have led for the contribution of vision, mission, and PEOs of the program. Steps to include stakeholder consultation, faculty, students, industry, alumni. So you can include a number of stakeholders. Larger the area with respect to the collection of these points, better is the outcome. So once we collect the data can be collected in various forms like surveys, meetings, reports, questionnaires, etc. So we have to draft all these points with respect to the department academic committee or department advisory committee or program assessment committee, whatever name you give to those committees, it is better to verify through them once. And once it is verified, it will go for approval process with respect to advisory board meeting, academic council meeting, or governing council meeting. So whatever the structure of approval that you follow at your institute, we have to have the approval with all these bodies before we present it to our stakeholders. So dissemination and review becomes a very important point. So how well we are disseminating the vision, mission, and PEOs of the program to the larger extent. So vision, mission, and PEOs dissemination is another aspect which carries 5 marks. So how well the documented and finalized vision, mission, and PEOs is disseminated among the stakeholders. So we have to have its outlook in various aspects. The document, the platform where these are published, like department websites, student handbooks, classrooms, laboratories, induction programs, alumni and industry events, and we have to be ensured that the awareness and accessibility of these vision, mission, and PO statements should be there among the stakeholders. And it would be best to have these vision, mission, and PO statement as an attachment with respect to the official email IDs with all the faculties and the heads of the departments. And it is best to disseminate all this with respect to parents teacher meeting and also in the conference that is organized by the program to a greater extent, and also in various platforms wherever possible. We should keep on disseminating the vision, mission, and POs so that all the stakeholders are well aware of these statements. So, mapping of PEOs with mission carries 10 marks. So, how well your PEO statements are in alignment with respect to the mission statement of the program becomes a very important parameter. We need to have this in the form of table with a mapping of 3 to 1, where 3 represents high, 2 is medium, and 1 is low. So this kind of rating would be sufficient to highlight how well my PEOs are mapping with respect to the mission of the department. Then we have curriculum structure and features, which has been changed for SAR. So earlier we used to do it with respect to lecture hours alone. Now it has been changed where I have to include the lecture hours in terms of hours, then tutorials in terms of hours. This 42 hours, 14 hours, then practical if it is induced with that subject, which comes to 28 hours, and self-learning component with respect to teamwork, self-learning, or any other components that you're giving where a student performs on his own. Those hours also have to be calculated. Here it is taken to be 36. The total number of hours per semester for a particular course, it is turning out to be 120, which you divide by 30. Why 30? Because as per National Credit Framework, each credit is equivalent to 30 hours. So 120 by 30 will give me the credit of that course. So it means 4 credits should have a interactive session of engagement equivalent to 120 hours. Similarly, for 3 credits, it is going to be 90, for 2 credits 60, and for 1 credit 30. So the curriculum evolves based on stakeholders' inputs, faculty, students, industry, alumni, parents, present students, then faculties, management. So all the inputs that you can take while framing the curriculum. So this curriculum, whatever we are framing, have to be aligned with the work knowledge attributes and program outcomes, and also sustainable development goals have to be kept in mind while designing the curriculum as per SAR 2024. So these three parameters, that is work knowledge attribute, program outcomes, and sustainable development goals, plays a very important role in defining the curriculum, because each course that we define with respect to various categories should map to different levels of program outcomes, to different sustainable development goals, and also to different work knowledge attributes. So we have to keep this in mind, and in a holistic way, we have to come out with a curriculum which can map to all these three components. So periodic review of the curriculum. So we can change the curriculum. Usually it is once in 4 years. So periodic review every 3 to 5 years through a curricular committee can be done, and we can change the curriculum in totality. So curriculum structure carries 10 marks. So this is how the curriculum structure is required, as I explained earlier. So then comes the components of curriculum 5 marks. So your curriculum, how you are differentiating with respect to various subjects that an engineer learns in a period of 4 years. So that those are basic science, engineering science, core, electives, projects, then basic science courses, which is included. So like these categories, you can add a few and come out with a curriculum which is best suited for overall development of a student. So you, in a table format, you have to show the percentage distribution for each of these components with respect to distribution of curriculum. Then strategies for education reforms. So how have you defined your curriculum with respect to various aspects, like how it is multidisciplinary in nature, how it is interdisciplinary in nature, what are the courses that you have brought in to showcase that your program is multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary. So how have you used the academic bank of credits for transferring the credits from one system to another system? How well you have implemented online and NPTEL or SWAYAM courses with respect to the curriculum? and how well you have included national education policy or state policies with respect to framing of your curriculum have to be documented and well structured and presented before the committee. So 1.3 PO, PSO and their mapping with the courses carries 20 marks, quite a lot. So here the first part is PO and PSOs. So this is just a general table where we can score out of out marks. List NBA defined 11 POs, which is already available. We have to just define it. So program specific outcomes is relevant to the course where we are going to evaluate the PSOs at the end of 4 years of the program. So usually it is 2 to 3 PSOs for a program. So I've written here 3 PSOs specific to the program. Then mapping between the courses and POs and PSOs. So here the matrix representation have to be done for mapping of the courses to POs and PSOs. So on the first column, you write all the POs and PSOs, 11 POs and 3 PSOs. So this has to be 3. So PSO 1, 2, 3. Then you map the courses. Which course is mapped to PO1, PO2, PO3 until PO11 and until PSO 3. So in each row, you can write the different courses and also give their names with respect to mapping of the courses to POs and PSOs. Then comes course outcomes and course articulation matrix, 30 marks. So this pro defining the course outcomes, mapping of course outcomes to POs and PSOs, articulation matrix, and attainment calculation, it carries more than 100 marks in totality for SAR 2024. So we have to be very careful with this aspect and we have to justify and form our curriculum with keeping in mind all these aspects. So course outcome semester wise 15 marks. So we have to define 4 to 6 course outcomes per course. A sample of 2 core courses per semester will be evaluated by the committee during their visit to the institute. So 2 core courses from each semester. If it is 8 semesters, then totally we will be having 16 subjects or 16 courses that will be evaluated or picked by the committee to evaluate how well we have defined the course outcomes. So this is one of the format table that is available. You can have your own format. So this is the course code, course name, course numbers, and CO statements. Okay, so you can have a different format of these tables of how do you define the course outcome. So you have to keep it ready for core courses. So one major thing that we have to do is the course outcomes, whatever we are going to write, it has to be specific in nature. It means it has to be SMART. So the acronym SMART is used here like it has to be specific, it has to be measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So we have to keep in mind while defining our course outcomes in such a way that all these 5 aspects will be reached by a course outcome. Then we have course articulation matrix, which is of 15 marks. So course outcome 15 marks and course articulation matrix 15 marks. So for each of the courses, the COs will be mapped to PO and PSO. So how do you map? What is the knowledge level? What kind of assessment methodology that you're doing? What is the instructional activities that you're following for each of the defined COs with respect to the Bloom's taxonomy and knowledge level? Is clearly mentioned through this articulation matrix. So you should be very careful in understanding the Bloom's taxonomy, the levels of knowledge, and in what way you are going to map this articulation matrix and justification of why you have given 1, 2, and 3 mapping to each of the CO and PO and CO PSO. And the last part is program articulation matrix. So here map all the courses to POs, PSOs at a program level. So all the courses from first semester to 8th semester you would be taking, or basically from third semester to 8th semester you would be listing it out and giving out the course code, course name, and their model values of COPO table. From this table, the model values you'll be taking and substituting it in this table so that you will get the consolidated table of program articulation matrix for the whole program. So this carries 5 marks. So this is what the whole of criteria 1 is all about, which carries 120 marks. To recapture, so we have to maintain the consistency, ensure proper formatting, numbering, and references. Tables and matrices have to be very clear and it has to be labeled. Flowcharts and diagrams have to come up wherever necessary. It is very important because each process, how it is followed, how it is reviewed, and periodically what is the process that we follow. If it is explained through diagrams and flowcharts, it will be more beneficial. Stakeholders involvement, so different stakeholders, internal and external, how do we convey the message to them? How do we accept the inputs from them? So all these review meetings, records, everything has to be clearly maintained. So NBA guideline compliance, cross-check with the Washington Accord, graduate attributes, POs and PEOs and PSOs also. So clearly state the frequency of curriculum change with respect to the call that you have taken with your institute. The best suited time is 3 to 5 years for change of every curriculum. Thank you very much. You can contact me on this email ID for any further clarifications and discussions. Thank you.